My name is Chris Brusberg, and I'm the lighting designer. I was in high school. I had done marching band in the fall, and then a bunch of theater people were also in marching band, and they were kind of like, hey, you should do this thing in the winter and the spring. And it just kind of stuck like that. And before I knew it, that's what I've been doing ever since. It's a really nice intersection between technology and art and design. So there are days where I can be totally in the art and I can be talking about a director about like, oh, I really think the quality of this scene demands this type of light, and I think we can reference this earlier type of moment in the play. And then there are some days where I can be like, oh, this kind of technology with these kind of LEDs integrated with this board can give us this effect. I really like designing at the Cherry because for that last reason, like I can do these projects that are very based in reality and therefore dictate a certain type of light that needs to be done. And then when I get to the Cherry, it's like, okay, like let's light a whole scene with one light, or what happens if this entire scene is just backlit, or what about just the color blue, and asking these really absurd questions that don't deal with the realism of the play, but deal with the emotion of the play. In the beach, we have these soft glowing ambers, and versus the office where we can kind of have this harsh, cold, fluorescent lighting, and trying to figure out in and where during the play does one trump another. Most of this play happens in this almost like after the golden hour, so we start seeing the sun go down, and then we get to that point where you start to lose color and things. You start to lose a little bit of like depth perception, and like the life slowly drains out of everything. And what is it like? How does that part of the day feel when things have come to a close? And there's no real resolve. We looked at a lot at the painter Winslow Homer, because he has kind of both of those things. He has some very beautiful beach scenes with like pink and amber and peach tones, and then he has these kind of twilight paintings where there might only be 3 or 4 colors and they're kind of darker and bluer. And so Sam and I kind of gravitated towards those and started talking about like what is the journey between these two moments. I think my favorite lighting moments are these kind of pull down moments that Sam has kind of talked to them about like time rips, where we kind of like pull out and time kind of stops. We have these monologues, and what's going to be really interesting is we'll have this scene where we have this very beautiful light, and it's like the colors slowly starting to drain out of it, and then all of a sudden we're able to quickly shift gears and pull someone out like almost in kind of a spotlight and change the environment around them as they go through this monologue that helps us as an audience understand them as a character. And then as soon as it's done, we'll be able to like pop back. When I got this play, I had to read it 4 times. And A, because I enjoyed it, and B, because there was so much there. And it's nice because it was cerebral, but it had a flowiness to it, but it kept me engaged. And I think some of the themes are very present today in some of the conversations that we're having. So not only do you get to see this very maybe sweet drama, but also has a lot of fraught moments in it between 2 people. And you get to see that interaction, but then when you look at it at a deeper level, you're like, oh, this really impacts part of the conversations that we're having in everyday life too. And I kind of like that double meaning that it's a cake with many layers, and I think there's a lot to enjoy there.